The boos started softly at first, like a distant rumble rolling across Rod Laver Arena, but Yulia Putintseva heard every single one. She always does. As soon as she walked onto court, the Turkish flags were already waving, the chants already rising, and the message was clear. Tonight, she was the villain. And instead of shrinking, instead of pretending not to notice, Putintseva leaned into it with a smirk that said everything. If they wanted a villain, she was ready to give them one. From the very first point, the atmosphere was hostile. Every missed shot from her opponent was met with cheers. Every error from Putintseva celebrated like a break of serve. Turkish fans packed the stands, loud, emotional, protective of their player, turning the match into something that felt more like a derby than a grand slam contest. For many players, that kind of crowd would be suffocating. For Putintseva, it was fuel. She thrives in chaos, always has. She bounced on her toes between points, stared down the box, and slowed the game just enough to let the noise boil. When the boos got louder, her reactions got sharper. A fist pump held a second too long. A glance toward the crowd after a big winner. A sarcastic little clap when the jeering refused to stop. She wasn't hiding her emotions, and she wasn't apologizing for them either. Putintseva has never been the player who plays nice for applause. She plays to win, and if that means being disliked along the way, so be it. Over the years, she's built a reputation as one of the fiercest competitors on tour, a player who fights for every point and never backs down, whether it's against an opponent across the net or thousands of fans in the stands. In Melbourne, against a sea of Turkish supporters, that reputation only grew stronger. The boos peaked whenever she questioned a call or took extra time before serving. Social media was already buzzing mid-match, clips flying around of her exaggerated reactions, fans arguing over whether she was disrespectful or simply unapologetically herself. Some called her arrogant, others called her entertaining. Putintseva didn't care what label was trending. Her focus was locked on the baseline, her intensity unwavering. There was a moment midway through the match when she hit a stunning winner down the line, silencing the crowd for just a split second. She turned, slowly raised her arms, and soaked in the noise as it returned, louder than before. It was pure theater. She knew exactly what she was doing. In a sport that often demands politeness and restraint, Putintseva was reminding everyone that tennis can also be raw, emotional, and confrontational. Turkish fans booed harder, chanting even louder, but the effect wasn't what they hoped for. Instead of rattling her, it sharpened her edge. Her movement became quicker, her shots heavier, her celebrations bolder. Every time the crowd tried to pull her down, she pushed right back, point by point, game by game. This wasn't just about tennis anymore. It was about identity. Putintseva has long embraced the idea that not everyone needs to be liked. She has spoken before about being misunderstood, about how passion is often mistaken for bad attitude, especially when it comes from women who refuse to be quiet. On this night, under the bright Australian Open lights, she made her stance clear without saying a word. As the match tightened, the tension in the arena was electric. Every rally felt like a battle, every changeover another chance for the crowd to try to get under her skin. She responded the only way she knows how, with grit, defiance, and an unbreakable stare. When she held serve under pressure, she shouted, "Come on," straight into the noise. When she was broken, she snapped her towel, reset, and went right back to work. Win or lose, Putintseva had already made her mark. She turned a hostile environment into a personal stage, reminding everyone why she's one of the most compelling figures in women's tennis. Love her or hate her, you cannot ignore her. And that's exactly how she likes it. After the final point, the reaction was mixed. Cheers from one side, boos from the other, and Putintseva standing in the middle of it all, unapologetic. She acknowledged her opponent at the net, then gave a brief nod to the crowd, a gesture that felt less like gratitude and more like acceptance. This is who she is. This is how she plays. Take it or leave it. Online, the debate exploded instantly. Some fans slammed her behavior, calling it unnecessary provocation. Others praised her for standing her ground and refusing to be bullied by the crowd. Clips of her reactions racked up views by the millions, with captions labeling her the Australian Open villain and memes celebrating her fearless attitude. But for Putintseva, none of that noise matters as much as what happens between the lines. She has built her career on resilience, on being underestimated, on turning negativity into motivation. In Melbourne, against a wall of boos from passionate Turkish fans, she once again showed that she doesn't crumble under pressure. She transforms. The Australian Open has always been known for its intensity, its loud crowds, and its unforgettable moments. This was one of them. A reminder that tennis isn't just about clean winners and polite applause. Sometimes it's about confrontation, emotion, and a player bold enough to embrace the role everyone else assigns to them. Yulia Putintseva didn't ask to be the villain that night, but when the boos came, she didn't run from them either. She stood tall, played her game, and proved once again that in a sport full of scripted heroes, there's still room for someone who thrives in the chaos. And whether fans loved her or loathed her, one thing was undeniable: all eyes were on her.